Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, she, he, and today I have a cold. And here we are, looking forward to the shortest month of the year, and I've got 8 review slots to fill. Once again, while I managed to read everything on time this past month, my reviewing did hit a snag or two, so we shall be reviewing Volume 3 of The Swamp Thing in February when I read the 4th volume. As far as not review videos go, my resolution to do fewer of them is maybe going to happen. It depends on if I do the TBR for March in the final week of February or the first week of said month. I guess we shall see. Otherwise, I want to do a profile of prolific picture book author Carol Boston Weatherford this month and also do a manga stats and series update video, which will probably take some doing. So we shall see. But now, what all y'all have all been waiting for, the actual book selection for this coming month. Starting with the manga, because of how short February is, I'm only going to be picking up one short manga series. That is going to be the 3-volume bind-up of Paradise Kiss from Vertical. I had read this series way back in the day, but had apparently gotten it a bit mixed up in my head with the much longer series, Wallflower. But after I cleared that up, I've still been finding it a very interesting read, and I'm sure I'll have lots to say. Initially published in 2000 and translated in 2002 by Tokyopop, this Vertical edition was published in 2012. The series rolls in at just over 800 pages. And the summary for Volume 1 is, quote, Yukari is a spirited high school senior in the process of studying for her college entrance exams. Sadly, the prospect of subjecting herself to a meaningless, dull life leaves her feeling depressed about the future. In a bout of frustration, Yukari begins to ignore her courses and she begins to hang out with a group of fashion design students. But what Yukari doesn't know is that this circle is known as Paradise Kiss, and they are run by a pair of young designers already making their mark on the Asian scene. Furthermore, while her life is going to soon change, it will not be due to the elite political or commerce-based future her family may have hoped for. Instead, her life may eventually be set in a world of high fashion, with her strutting down the catwalk as the face of Asian fashion. End quote. Then we have my first queer pick of the month, which is also going to be this cycle's Tilly Walden pick, namely Are You Listening? One of her more heftier tomes. This graphic novel rounds up to just about 306 pages and was published in 2019 by First Second. I'm really digging the color scheme, to be honest. Summary is, quote, B is on the run, and then she runs into Lou. This chance encounter sends them on a journey through West Texas, where strange things follow them wherever they go. The landscape morphs into an unsettling world. A mysterious cat joins them, and they are haunted by a group of threatening men. To stay safe, B and Lou must trust each other as they are driven to confront buried truths. The two women share their stories of loss and heartbreak and a startling revelation about sexual assault, culminating in an exquisite example of human connection. End quote. Which sounds unfortunately timely. Thirdly, we get queer pick number 2, Gender Pirates, an assigned male comics collection by Sophie Labelle, who is a trans comics creator from Montreal, Quebec, who currently lives in Finland. The collection appears to be about 166 pages long. Summary is, quote, Ahoy! Let's let go of everything you thought you knew about gender because Steffi and her friends are about to shatter it anyway. Gender Pirates is the name given by our heroes to the LGBTQIA+ group they created at their elementary school after Seal, aka Alessandro, was a victim of homophobic bullying. In this book, we also see Steffi's dad coming to terms with her transness, friendships being built between queer and trans kids, and lots of sarcasm. Assigned Male Comics has been running as a webcomic since August 2014. This collection of early work from Assigned Male Comics by Sophie Labelle includes 162 pages of comics from 2014, 2015, and 2016. End quote. Moving right along, we have my anti-ableism pick for February, which is a title I've been meaning to read for a while. Chlorine Gardens by Keeler Roberts was published in 2018 by the now defunct Koyama Press and totals 128 pages long. Quote, Keeler Roberts doesn't do slice of life. She gives you the whole pie. Dealing with pregnancy, child-rearing, art-making, mental illness, and an MS diagnosis, the parts of Chlorine Gardens sound heavy, but Keeler Roberts' gift is the deft drollness in which she presents life's darker moments. She doesn't whistle past graveyards, but rather finds the punchline in the pitiful. End quote. Then we have the first pick off my recently released Black Comics TBR for 2023, namely Djeliya, a West African fantasy epic by Ba, published by TKO Studios in 2021. This book runs 176 pages long. Summary, quote, inspired by West African folklore and stories handed over centuries, this unique graphic novel follows the adventures of Manso, last prince of a dying kingdom, and Awa, his loyal Djeliya, or royal storyteller, as they journey to meet the great wizard who destroyed their world and then withdrew into his tower never to be seen again. On their journey, they'll cross paths with friends and foe from myth and legend alike and revisit the traditions, tales, and stories that gave birth to their people and nurture them still. What dark secrets lies at the heart of these stories, and what purpose do their tellers truly serve? Question. End quote. Pick number 6 is my Indigenous comic pick for February as well. Another reread, but never reviewed before. Anti-Capitalist Resistance by Gord Hill was originally published in 2012 and wraps up at only 96 pages long. The summary is, quote, in recent years, the world has borne witness to numerous confrontations, many of them violent, between protesters and authorities at pivotal gatherings of the world's political and economic leaders. While police and the media are quick to paint participants as anarchist thugs, accurate accounts of their obsequious treatment at the hands of authorities often go untold, as well as the myriad stories of corporate and government corruption, greed, exploitation, and abuse of power that inspired such protests in the first place. In this startling, politically astute graphic novel, Gord Hill, The 500 Years of Resistance comic book documents the history of capitalism as well as anti-capitalism and anti-globalization movements around the world, from the 1999 Battle of Seattle against the World Trade Organization to the Toronto G20 summit in 2010. The dramatic accounts trace the global origins of public protests against those in power, then depict recent events based on eyewitness testimony. They go far to contradict the myths of violence perpetrated by authorities and instead paint a vivid and historically accurate picture of activists who bring the crimes of government and multinationals to the world's attention. End quote. The mainstream pick for February is also my Vertigo pick, Saga of the Swamp Thing, Volume 4 by Alan Moore, Stephen Bissett, and John Toltobin, among others. Originally published as standalone issues in the mid-80s, this trade bind-up is 220 pages long. The summary is, quote, this fourth volume brings Swamp Thing's quest for self-discovery with the mystic John Constantine to its shattering conclusion. A harbinger of doom has been released with the sole charge of waking an evil beyond comprehension, and Swamp Thing, John Constantine, Deadman, the Phantom Stranger, Astrigan the Demon, the Spectre, and other masters of the occult must unite against the dark forces that threaten to eradicate heaven's light. End quote. And then, because I'm playing catch up with the Realm of Comics Book Club, I'll be talking about Radiant Black, volumes 1 to 3, published between 2021 and 2022. It totals 576 pages long. Summary for volume 1 is, quote, visionary writer Kyle Higgins, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Ultraman, and artist Marcelo Costa reinvent superheroes for a new generation. Nathan Burnett has just turned 30 and things aren't great. He's working and failing at 2 jobs. His credit card debt is piling up, and his only move is moving back home with his parents. But when Nathan discovers the ethereal comic Radiant, he's given the power to radically change his fortunes, unless the cosmic beings who created them succeed in taking them back by any means necessary. Oh, and did we mention there's a Red Radiant who wants Nathan dead? The next must-read comic book series starts here, end quote. And I think that covers just about everything on my end. What are y'all looking to read this month? By all, keep reading Unorganized and Capitalist Oppression.
And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, non-Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.